guys, it's Stephanie here with TheFlowerFanatic. If you've never been to my channel, welcome. I'm really glad you're stopping by and visiting me. I basically started this channel because I'm obsessed with gardening. I'm literally a fanatic, but also about 10 years ago, I really started to discover the peace and joy that it brings me. I was filled with so much anxiety 10 years ago. Anyways, I'm gonna cry. Anyways, I did not expect to get emotional. Sorry, I was just gonna stop for a minute and get a coat. I was getting cold. Anyways, at the time I had my 4 kids, and I was pregnant with a 5th. And I moved to a little city, a small little town with my husband and my kids. And before I had moved there, I was struggling with, I would say, anxiety for 3 straight years, just relentless. I'm talking about no peace type anxiety. And when you're in that type of mindset, it's really, really hard. Every second feels hard. Every day feels hard. It was in a growing period. I was growing up. I was moving away. Anyway, it was a really, really hard time. And then I remember once I got out onto that grass, I finally was able to have a break from those intrusive thoughts. And I can't tell you how amazing that felt. And I knew it had something to do with nature. Anyway, so for me, gardening and flowers are so much more than just beautiful creations that grow, beautiful natural things that grow and develop. For me, it is an outlet for my mental health. And I've honestly found so much healing through it. And I just want to share that with you guys because I know I'm not alone in this. I know there's so many of you out there that may be struggling. It's been a really hard 2 years. Life is hard. And if you can find an outlet or some sort of respite and peace, it's an amazing thing, especially when you're in the grips of anxiety and you just can't seem to get a break. Anyway, enough of that. That's a little bit about me. I do want to give you a little design tips on creating flower beds for the first time. I have learned so much and I just thought I'd share those things with you because I wish I had known these things when I first started. It would have made it a little bit easier. But honestly, being out in nature, whether I was doing it right or not, is always therapeutic. And that's a big part of it. It's just so much healing for me. So let's take a look at some of my flower beds. So I'm gonna just walk you up and down for a minute. Okay, I am still widening a little bit. This is the final widening that I'm gonna do along here on this fence line. Otherwise, my husband's not gonna be able to get the boat back there. Okay, so my first tip, I'm gonna tell you something funny that I did when I was first gardening here. The first thing I did was, so this flower bed was really small. It started from here and it almost ended to right here. So about half the size, or even a little bit more than half the size. And I was like, I'm gonna get some Roundup and I'm gonna kill the grass. So there's no flowers in here really. There was a few that I didn't like. So I'm kind of happy it was a blank slate because then I was able to just do whatever I wanted. I got some Roundup and the first thing I did was put it in my, my little sprayer. And I did not dilute any of it. You're supposed to dilute it. And I didn't know that. And I'm just in here spraying. I'm just like in here spraying. I've got my slippers on. Walking around and walking on all of this weed killer. And then I started walking all over my grass. And no joke, 2 to 3 weeks later, I had dead footprints over the entire area of my grass. This neighbor over here started calling me Bigfoot. My first tip is if you're gonna use Roundup, know that if you walk around and step in it and then you step on your grass, you could really get dead footprints and dilute it. Okay, so that's the number one tip, especially along your fence line, is you wanna create a layering effect. So basically you put your tall ones in the back. This is a fairly newly planted flower bed. And so things kind of all are the same size. But right here I have a limelight hydrangea. Everything's obviously dormant. That will get pretty tall in the back. I have a smoke bush right here that's gonna get tall. I have a Joe Pye weed that died off to the ground. That's gonna get tall. That grass will get tall. Anyway, so you have your tall plants in the back. And then layering, basically you're just trying to create an effect where it goes tall and then it kind of gradually falls down. That's a general guideline. Some are a little bit taller in front, but you want to be able to see your back ones. I think layering is so fun. It's so, you know, the epitome of a cottage garden, of an English style garden. Anyways, and then once you get your nice layering going, so I have some short ones in here. Geraniums, hardy geraniums are pretty in the front. Everything is dyed off, so you can't see anything. It's amazing that a flower bed can go from looking like nothing to just very full and abundant in a matter of months. It's pretty awesome. In order to get that nice layering effect, you want to create flower beds that are a lot wider and deeper than you think you should go. I wish I would have known that, because every year I keep widening it, and I'm finally at the width that I want, but this is a 15-foot deep flower bed. And that way you can create a much more dramatic look and stuff and fill a lot of fun plants in there. So my recommendation is to go for 8 to 10 feet at the minimum if you can. If you have a smaller area, I always think that's just more opportunity to really get that cottage look and just get rid of more and more grass. Tip is just kind of plant things in the orders of like 3 to 5 at least, groups of 3 to 5 to 7, because that just makes it look more dramatic, more cohesive. If you had one of different plants all throughout, it would look a little bit disjoint. And then also they don't have to be the same plant, but kind of the same colors, those kind of things. So along here I'll have purple all throughout the front, and that will look pretty. And then you can add some contrast of textures and colors and shapes of leaves. So iris are spiky. They look pretty next to the round rose bush. So adding different textures. That means kind of like your leaves have different textures. If spiky plants next to round blooms, those kind of things. Anyways, those are a few tips that I have in mind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell you. Oh, structure plants. Okay. So structure plants are awesome. This is where you kind of start with. So I know this doesn't look like much. This is a little evergreen blue spruce. I'll have to put that in the link. You probably don't care right now because it doesn't look like very much, but this is going to get nice and big. I swear this thing grows about 1 inch a year, if that. So buy your plants a little bigger if you do not want to wait. I'm learning that. In the future, I'm going to buy bigger trees, but this was back in the day and I just didn't know. I thought they grew faster. This will get really nice and tall, take up that space. And this is kind of a calming effect, adding some evergreens and different textures, but it gives you a little bit of calmness with the busyness. This is my Magnolia. I love it. It already has some blooms coming out. And this is really, really beautiful in spring, or buds, sorry, not blooms. They have some buds developing. It does so well here. So I have another little structure plant right there. All right, and if you have rough soil to work with, so this soil is getting better over time, just add some organic matters, things such as mulch, compost, wood chips, leaves. I don't actually clean up my leaves out of my flower beds because they are awesome natural organic matter and they'll break down and they decompose pretty quickly. These annoying things though, this tree, look at all of those. They have so many of these leaves, these honey locusts. These are awful. So I removed these because they start everywhere and they don't break down. Every year, just add compost, add some organic matter, because that every year kind of needs to be redistributed through just natural erosion, climate, wind, weather, all those things. And then I want a drip system. So right now I have a little bit of an overhead spray, and I'm gonna be switching out to that as soon as we get some time. But it's because my roses, the overhead spray, it just kind of makes them fall to the ground, the petals, and that's kind of sad. So overhead spray is actually good for spider mites and aphids though. They don't like the water, but I could sacrifice that. And as you can see here, this is where I told my husband, here's a sprinkler head. I told my husband, I'm not moving them anymore. We put in some permanent sprinkler heads and look how far they've come out. I would say about 4 to 5 feet. So that's why I'm saying make sure you go wider so you can not have to do what I'm doing and adjust all my sprinkler heads. That's going to be kind of annoying. Make a plan before you do your flower beds, because then you'll go into it, you won't be overwhelmed, and I promise you'll be much more confident in planting and you'll be happier with the results. So right here, I'm going to show you one last of grass clumps I haven't cleaned up yet. I'm going to do that today. I did widen it a good 2 feet, but I'm making a plan here. So I live in an area that doesn't get a lot of water or rain throughout the summer. It's a drought. So I'm planting things that are drought tolerant. I'm planning ahead. I'm gonna buy maybe 4 or 5 calumet here, some 3 lamb's ear, some cone flowers, and some zebra malls. Those are gonna be so pretty. But these are all drought tolerant plants. I'm gonna have a plan so I know how to lay them out. I can just get them in there so I'm not sitting there thinking, where should I put stuff or do this, and then moving them around and transplanting all the time. This way I can go into it with ease and keep my plants there. Otherwise I end up moving them and it's just not great. So colors you really love too. And find plants that work for your climate. And if you don't want to water a lot, have like-minded plants that can handle the same amount of water. I am going to have to hand water a few over here because I have some that are a little bit more drought tolerant. It's like my Artemisia, it's hiding in the ground, but that's going to come out of the ground. It's got a nice silver foliage, but my limelight needs a lot more water than those. Basically, if you want to make your life easier, give plants that have the same needs. I don't really care to hand water. I find it a little bit therapeutic. So, all right, that's all I got for you. Thanks for stopping by. Keep watching. I have more videos coming up. Stay tuned for my next videos. I'm going to do one on soil to help you understand that. And then, because that's really what gets you on the right track to start growing beautiful flowers and plants. Anyways, I hope that you can discover the peace that, or respite that flowers bring me in gardening. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye.